Synopsis of the Books of the Bible. Nehemiah. By J.N. Darby. All Scripture is given by inspiration of God, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. 2 Timothy 3 verses 16 and 17. Synopsis of the Books of the Bible. By John Nelson Darby. Nehemiah, chapters 2 to 6. Nehemiah's perseverance and faithfulness. The time in which Nehemiah labored for the good of his people was not one of those brilliant phases which, if faith be there, awaken even the energy of man, imparting to it its own luster. It was a period which required the perseverance that springs from a deep interest in the people of God, because they are his people, a perseverance which, for this very reason, pursues its object in spite of the contempt excited by the work, apparently so insignificant, but which is not the less the work of God, and which pursues it in spite of the hatred and opposition of enemies, and the faint-heartedness of fellow laborers. Nehemiah 4 verses 8 to 11, a perseverance which, giving itself up entirely to the work, baffles all the intrigues of the enemy, and avoids every snare, God taking care of those who trust in him. It is also a beautiful feature in Nehemiah's character, that in spite of his high office he had all the detail of service so much at heart, and all that concerned the upright walk of God's people. In the midst, however, of all this faithfulness, we perceive the influence of the Gentile power controlling the whole state of things. Nehemiah's arrival and even his conduct are marked with this influence. It was not faith alone that was in action, but a protecting power also. Compare Ezra 8 verse 22, Nehemiah 2 verses 7 to 9. Nevertheless, the separation from all that was not Jewish is carefully maintained. Nehemiah 2 verse 20, 7 verse 65, 9 verse 2, 10 verse 30, 13 verses 1, 3, 29 and 30. Faith stamps its own character on all surrounding it. This history shows us, first of all, how, when God acts, faith stamps its own character on all who surround it. The Jews, who had so long left Jerusalem desolate, are quite disposed to recommence the work. Judah, however, is discouraged by the difficulties. This brings out the perseverance which characterizes true faith when the work is of God, be it ever so poor in appearance. The whole heart is in it because it is of God. Encouraged by Nehemiah's energy, the people are ready to work and fight at the same time. For faith always identifies God and his people in the heart. And this becomes a spring of devotedness in all concerned. Let us remark, that in times of difficulty faith does not show itself in the magnificence of the result, but in love for God's work, however little it may be, and in the perseverance with which it is carried on through all the difficulties belonging to this state of weakness, for that with which faith is occupied, is the city of God and the work of God, and these things have always the same value, whatever may be the circumstances in which they are found.